Beef History of Indian Classical Period, c. 320 to 650 CE. The Gupta dynasty rises from relative obscurity, fueled by the commercial success of its founder. Chandragupta I transforms a local principality into a regional power through a strategic matrimonial alliance. Coinage becomes a sophisticated tool for asserting royal legitimacy and documenting political unions. Assuming the title Great King of Kings, the monarch signals the birth of a new imperial era. The dynasty secures its foundation in the heartland, preparing for a grand expansion. The stage is set for a ruler who will define the parameters of classical tributary statecraft. This pillar will later bear the Prayag Prashasti, the definitive record of Gupta military triumphs. Military campaigns begin to reshape the fragmented geopolitical landscape of the post-Mauryan era. In the Ganges heartland, the Guptas pursue a policy of violent annexation and direct control. The old tribal republics find themselves dismantled by the rising tide of hereditary monarchy. Numismatic evidence becomes the primary tool for historians to reconstruct this era of consolidation. The imperial capital becomes the epicenter of a blossoming cultural and political renaissance. Court poets immortalize the emperor's calculated approach to geopolitics through ornate Sanskrit literature. Under the Grahana Mokshanugraha policy, distant rulers are liberated and reinstated as loyal vassals. This network of servants allows the empire to exert influence without the burden of direct administration. The empire reaches its peak as Chandragupta II crushes the Shakas to reach the Western Sea. Control over Western ports facilitates a massive flow of trade wealth from the Roman world. This solid iron column remains rust-free for 15 centuries, a testament to advanced Gupta metallurgy. Trade wealth stimulates the urban economy, fueling a demand for high-value luxury goods. Gold coins are used for high-value transactions, while commoners rely on simple cowrie shells. This visual metaphor at Udayagiri depicts the emperor rescuing the kingdom from foreign chaos. The royal court becomes a magnet for the greatest intellectual and literary minds of the age. The era is marked by religious pluralism, with rulers patronizing diverse faiths and traditions. At its zenith, the Gupta state stands as the undisputed hegemon of northern India. The state begins widespread land grants, transferring revenue rights to religious and administrative specialists. These charters codify permanent, inalienable endowments, ensuring long-term income for temples and priests. Grantees are encouraged to settle remote regions, expanding the agricultural frontier into tribal lands. Grantees introduce advanced farming techniques and irrigation to boost agricultural yields. Sovereignty erodes as royal officials and military personnel are forbidden from entering granted lands. Subinfeudation creates a hierarchy of intermediary landlords, distancing the crown from the soil. The extraction of forced labor, or vishti, creates a system of deep socioeconomic dependency. As Western trade networks fracture, merchant guilds migrate and adopt non-productive professions. The decline of maritime trade leads to a scarcity of metal coins and a deurbanized economy. Despite economic shifts, the state continues to maintain large-scale irrigation works for the public good. Local administration becomes increasingly autonomous as central imperial authority begins to wane. This transition toward a localized land-grant economy lays the foundations of Indian feudalism. In the Deccan, the Vakatakas emerge as a major power between the north and the south. Strong matrimonial ties with the Guptas integrate the Vakatakas into the imperial diplomatic sphere. For years, a Gupta princess wields significant power, maintaining stability in the Deccan heartland. Under Harisena, the Vakatakas reach their territorial zenith, dominating central India. The king chooses this remote, scenic location for a grand burst of artistic patronage. Under Harisena, the Vakatakas reach their territorial zenith, dominating central India. The dry fresco technique involves mineral pigments applied over a carefully prepared base. Ajanta's murals display a mastery of perspective and form that will influence all of Asian art. The murals capture the daily life, fashion, and immense wealth of the Vakataka Gupta era. These caves serve as centers of learning and worship, protected by the pluralistic Vakataka court. The project is supported by a sophisticated administrative system that directs resources to the ravine. The Vakataka Renaissance at Ajanta remains the definitive visual masterpiece of the classical age. The classical period marks a transition from myth to empirical observation and mathematical proof. He is the first to propose that the Earth's rotation causes day and night, calculating its speed with near-modern accuracy. Aryabhata rejects mythological demons, proving that eclipses are caused by planetary shadows. His mathematical genius produces a value for pi that is correct to 4 decimal places. Formalization of zero and the decimal system provides the foundation for modern arithmetic. The Ujjain school synthesizes knowledge across science, agriculture, and urban planning. Varahamihira explores the physics of light, proposing that reflection is caused by backscattering particles. Brahmagupta establishes the rules for working with negative numbers and quadratic equations. Ayurveda is formalized, synthesizing surgical protocols with advanced internal medicine. Classical medicine masters complex procedures, including plastic surgery and cataract removal. Specialized scientific disciplines, like veterinary science, developed to support the state's military. Rigorous logic and philosophical inquiry become the core of the classical intellectual world. In the south, the Pallava dynasty rises to dominate the northern Tamil and southern Andhra regions. After a period of chaos, the imperial Pallavas restore order and cultural patronage. Architects begin by carving plain, massive pillared halls directly into the hillsides. The transition moves toward monolithic temples, each modeled after a ceremonial chariot. Narrative sculpture reaches a grand scale, depicting divine myths on open-air granite faces. Under Rajasimha, the Pallavas transition to freestanding structural temples built of stone blocks. The Southern Bhakti movement arises as an emotional reaction against ritualistic orthodoxy. Poet saints of all backgrounds compose passionate hymns in the local Tamil language. The Bhakti movement is socially inclusive, actively protesting the rigid caste system. This fervent personal devotion successfully marginalizes the older monastic traditions of Buddhism and Jainism. Regional languages find their voice as these hymns are codified for future generations. The Pallavas established the blueprint for the classic Dravidian style of temple architecture. The Badami Chalukyas assert their independence, shifting the political balance of the Deccan. Their greatest sovereign, Pulakeshin II, consolidates control over the entire peninsula. Facing rocky soil and low water tables, the Chalukyas turn to lucrative maritime commerce. The Chalukya administration is centralized and paternalistic, with the royal family closely involved. A highly organized four-winged army maintains the state's dominance across the plateau. The Vesara style emerges, harmoniously fusing the Nagara and Dravidian architectural traditions. Aihole becomes the cradle of Hindu temple architecture, a site for constant structural experimentation. Refined, large-scale relief sculptures celebrate the power of the divine in sandstone cliffs. Political conflict facilitates cultural exchange, as southern artists are brought to the Deccan. The climax of the Chalukya style occurs at Patadakal, the dynasty's sacred coronation city. These diverse architectural forms coexist side by side, showcasing the era's creative hybridity. A structured hierarchy of offices maintains order in a kingdom that bridges the north and south. Driven by faith, Faxian journeys from China to retrieve the original Buddhist monastic code. His records describe a prosperous, mild society under the height of Gupta rule. After the Huna invasions shatter the Guptas, young Harsha rises to unify the northern plains. Harsha's administration is personal and mobile. He travels constantly to inspect his domains. 2 centuries after Faxian, Xuanzang arrives to study at the world-renowned center of Nalanda. The pilgrim becomes a favored diplomat and advisor, promoting exchange between India and Tang China. Unlike the Gupta era, justice under Harsha is severe, involving imprisonment and trials by ordeal. Harsha convenes a grand assembly at his new capital to honor Xuanzang and debate philosophy. Demonstrating extreme royal charity, the king distributes his entire treasury to the people every 5 years. The economy is now fully feudalized, with officials paid in land rather than cash salaries. Internal rebellions and external incursions slowly erode the administrative fabric of the North. As the great pilgrim departs, the curtain begins to fall on the vibrant, connected classical age.